When I started watching So Miss Spider So What, I honestly thought it was just going to be another generic isekai anime with a lame, overpowered protagonist that has no real depth to her character, and only some of that is true. It is a pretty generic isekai anime in the grand scheme of things, however, the characters, the protagonist especially, has an amazing personality and definitely has a lot of depth to her character, and although she's overpowered, it never comes across like she can never be beaten. It's more like she has gradually built up her strength to become this stupidly strong, and that anyone who can do the same thing can get just as, if not more powerful than her. Honestly though, this show is one that I did not expect to like so much, as it is just another stupid isekai show where there are an abundance of. But there's something about this show that I love, and I think that it's the split storytelling, which isn't a spoiler as it literally happens in the first episode. But anyway, the split storytelling between two protagonists, one representing the humans and the other representing the demons and monsters, is interesting to get to see the two characters interact with the world and how the world treats the two characters. Everyone is rightfully scared of Kumiko for two reasons. First off, because if you're not afraid of spiders, then I'm convinced you're a psychopath, but also because the people around her can sense how strong she actually is, and it causes a lot of people to fear her. With the other protagonist, we get to see that he has everything. He is a prince, he's decently strong, he has friends and a family that care for him, and nobody fears or resents him, at least at first, but that's going to be talked about later. But what I love about the two characters is that they almost mirror each other in a lot of ways, as I will get into when I start talking about the spoilers, but also the show just looks good. The animation is really solid, and I love the choice to make the spider protagonist mostly CG, as this allows the fights to be much more fluid and makes them look that much nicer overall. I would say that if you were going to go into the show just thinking it was another generic isekai story, then you might be thoroughly surprised by the level of quality this show has. And that's it for the non-spoiler review. This is a show that I definitely recommend if you decided not to watch it because it seemed generic or lame, because once you give it a go, I'm sure you will fall in love with the series just like I did. One of the things I love about this anime is that the two interlocking stories take place 15 years apart from each other, and for the first few episodes we had no idea, and the reason why I love it so much is, first of all, it's unique in terms of isekai, but it also makes me ask this big question almost every episode, which is what the hell happened to Kumiko to turn her from this happy-go-lucky funny girl just trying to survive in this world to the most evil and strong demon lord there is, and how did this happen? And I'm very excited to learn the answer to that because it is super interesting. The character writing in the show is something that I didn't really think would be all that good, considering I thought it was going to be just another generic isekai anime, but boy was I wrong. The character writing in the show is amazing. The way they're able to write two interlocking stories with different characters that take place at two separate times is amazing, and the fact that the stakes never seem to go down for the characters is awesome. The characters are always going through a lot of struggles, and that forces them to grow and change and become stronger, all for the sake of either themselves or the world, and that is awesome. Kumiko, our protagonist, is a really good character. She is funny, strong, a little stupid, and overall just a great character. But what I love about her character the most is, compared to other isekai protagonists, is that she isn't overpowered right from the start. We have to see her work her way up to become this monster with extreme strength that everyone fears. Her character is one that started off with nothing, and then 15 years in the future she has everything, and that is awesome because it allows us to see the progression and descent of Kumiko, a character that we love to see on screen because her on-screen presence is just crazy. Every time she is on screen you can't help but have a good time because of her amazing personality, and that is awesome. The other technical main character, Shun, is in a lot of ways the opposite of Kumiko in that he is a prince who has everything, a loving family and friends, and he's pretty decently strong, but eventually he loses all that. It's interesting to see how these two character stories parallel each other and how they're probably going to be a confrontation at some point between these two characters, and that is awesome. His character though is a very interesting one, like the fact that he became a hero after his brother died, and how he is going to have to surpass his brother if he wants to not only fight the demon lord but also save his family, and that is cool because he isn't just overpowered from the start, and we are seeing all the struggles he has to go through to get to the strength he needs right now, and that is just awesome. The animation in this anime isn't something that is too over the top or really all that amazing. It doesn't look bad and certainly looks better than most isekai anime, but it just shows what it is and doesn't try to do anything fancy while also still looking clean, and the way they are able to combine 2D and 3D elements is actually impressive. It is one of the few times where it actually looks really good to do that, and it is awesome, and the 3D elements of the story look really impressive. Like, all that stuff with Kumiko is awesome. All of her fights are very fluid and very clean, and they even somehow implement a little bit of 2D segments without it looking jank, and that is very impressive. The music in the series is really good, especially the two OPs, but honestly all the music is good. It knows how to pull the emotions out of you in its scenes, and the music flows into the background of each scene in a way where it's noticeable enough to set the mood of the scene but not be overbearing to the point that it's all you can focus on, and the music is really good with that emotional stuff. There's some pretty heart-wrenching stuff that has gone down in some of the most recent episodes, and I must say the music helped those scenes hit you that much harder, and that is awesome. So Miss Spider So What is a series that when you go into it you think it's going to be just another generic isekai that's garbage but just good enough to hold your attention for the duration of the series, only to be forgotten about afterwards, but that's just what they want you to think, because if you go into the show with low expectations, you'll come out of it thoroughly surprised at how good of a show it actually is. This show also has a way to keep making you want to come back week after week despite how seemingly generic it is, and that is awesome. Solo Miss Spider So What is a series that I would recommend to just about anyone. If you're an Isekai fan and slept on the series, then I encourage you to watch this series, and if you hate the Isekai anime, I still recommend this series as it is a good series that stands on its own 2 feet and shouldn't be lumped into most of the garbage of the Isekai genre.